Tonight, regional leaders head into COP29 with a renewed focus as the fight for an operational loss and damage fund drags on. Plus, another holiday weekend is here and police are leaving tips to ensure you and your family stay safe. And later, from the screen to the storefront, an e-commerce online platform is taking a major step. Our News, the Weekend Edition, starts right now. Welcome to Our News, the Weekend Edition. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Berthany McDermott. The battle for climate justice wages on as regional leaders head to COP29 with a single message. Director of Climate Change and Environmental Matters in the Office of the Prime Minister, Rochelle Newbold, says it won't be easy as they push for an operational loss and damage fund.
We know going to Baku, this can be a fight. This will be a fight. And we also are calling our partners out on the fact that you are pumping money into wars.
That's the sentiment as regional leaders head to COP29 in Baku this year, fighting for a loss and damage fund. After years of negotiations, the Loss and Damage Fund Board, which the Bahamas has membership in, will meet this December to determine when countries will be able to apply for access to money from the fund. Antigua and Barbados are also members on that board. It's a big step as small island developing states like the Bahamas have been pushing for an operational fund for years.
It will not be that anybody could just access the fund. For instance, with Hurricane Beryl coming through, those countries that were tapped along the Caribbean borders, that they would have been able to make application to the fund after having done an assessment, quantifying what the loss was, and then the funding would have been given to them to address their need. I do not wish to mislead the public into thinking that the Loss and Damage Fund is going to say, if we had Hurricane Dorian now, then the Loss and Damage Fund would have given us $3.4 billion.
The Loss and Damage Fund was seeded with $800 million. Regional leaders have expressed disappointment that the fund has not been operating since its formation. Newbold says at COP29, the ask is for $1.1 trillion per year for developed countries. But with natural disasters becoming more common, the need for quick response is imperative. It's an issue Newbold said was raised by Caribbean leaders.
We need for there to be a rapid response fund that is set aside for countries so that they don't have to go through the long, drawn-out process to wait for funding to be made available. And it was because of the intervention of the Caribbean that the board is going to have like a two-tranche approach, one where immediate needs can be addressed.
But while significant progress is being made, she says larger countries are still stenching.
When you start waving around $1.1 trillion per year, everybody's starting to sit small. Ain't nobody got nothing to say. It's like pulling teeth, to be honest. It's like pulling teeth to get them to give, because now, say for instance, Helena, Milton, the United States could be like, oh, we have climate impacts too. We need to address our needs as well. And the Prime Minister had said almost 2 years ago, we are always going to be on the front lines. And the front lines mean like what you feeling now, we have been feeling.
Well, as the Bahamas remains at the forefront of devastating hurricanes and many still grapple with the lingering effects of Hurricane Dorian, there's one aspect of the rebuilding process that often goes unnoticed: managing PTSD and post-trauma triggered by these devastating storms. Tonight, Delbardo Emmanuel spoke with a cognitive behavioral therapist who breaks down the whole thing.
One of the first things that I would often recommend in therapy is that people understand it is okay to not be okay. I think we have to establish the framework that allows us to actually be human instead of being so robotic. Because as you're well aware, the systems that we sometimes have to live and operate in expects us to perform and show up in spite of what it is that we are dealing with on the inside.
Dr. Thompson notes that the key to managing PTSD lies in how we respond to our feelings. Instead of seeking immediate relief from discomfort, he encourages individuals to embrace their emotions, process them, and recognize what is in their control.
Instead of trying to soothe, which can stop us from receiving information, in pieces that you are able to manage and handle, slowly start to feel your way through what is possible, what is in your control, and what is not in your control. Because many times the first experience with PTSD will make you feel like everything is outside of your control, and that's not always true. So you have to give yourself an opportunity to go through those feelings, to go through that emotionality, to actually see what you have the power to control.
When asked about a timeline for healing, Dr. Thompson emphasized there isn't one. He says healing is a personal journey that doesn't adhere to strict deadlines.
In a perfect world, there would be a timeline on healing, right? But The past will always come with us wherever we go. Because we all have memory, we will remember what happened. We will remember what was said. We will remember what took place. It's what do you do when you remember, though?
He offers these tips for managing anxiety and panic.
You got to learn the art of disconnecting. That means recognizing when I've had enough. Recognizing maybe when it's time to turn off social media, it's time to turn off the TV and just reconnect to what is real for you in that moment. That's one of the first things you can do. The second thing is you have to find different and unique ways to take care of yourself.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
Thanks, Delvado. Well, Free National Movement Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands, he's lashing out at Prime Minister Philip Davis after he announced his administration will not launch a formal inquiry into human Hurricane Dorian-related deaths. While in opposition, Davis called for an independent investigation either by a commission of inquiry or external police to find out what happened to those still missing in Abaco and Grand Bahama. This week, the Prime Minister said those investigations are ongoing administratively. Well, Sands says this is another instance where the Prime Minister has gone back on his word.
It is really unfortunate that yet again on such a critical matter that the Prime Minister, who has demonstrated a habit of changing or flip-flopping on matters, today he supports it, tomorrow he doesn't. And it makes it very, very difficult to know where he honestly stands and whether or not his comments simply comments of expediency or comments that he supports from his heart.
And as the Northern Bahamas experienced a brush of Hurricane Milton this week, many paused to reflect on Hurricane Dorian's devastating impact. Sands says he hopes families will get the answers they need.
The idea that a formal inquiry should be conducted into Dorian is less about how the state responded and more about getting closure for families, for people that may have lost loved ones, who continue to wait for a final determination as to whether somebody is still missing or whether they will never ever be found.
And tribute still pouring in tonight for former politician, accountant, and columnist Philip Glanis, who was found dead at his home Friday morning. In a statement, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram said he was shocked and saddened by the news, calling him a proud and dedicated member of the PLP who never allowed politics to interfere with his personal relationships. Ingram added that he found Glanis' weekly column in the Nassau Guardian to be well-researched, informative, and useful. He was an important voice to the country, Ingram said, adding his voice will be sorely missed. As we begin another holiday weekend, police are warning Bahamians to party responsibly during a time that often sees heightened drinking and driving incidents. Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Kristen Skippings urging the public to plan ahead if they're going to be drinking.
If you're having family functions or you're having receptions, there's going to be alcoholic beverages, I'm going to ask you, please identify a designated driver prior to going to your functions. Please identify a designated driver. And designated driver, hold firm to your commitment. Not to drink, because you are responsible for ensuring that everybody else gets home safely and harm.
She's also urging motorists to abide by speed limits this weekend, regardless how empty the roads may seem. And the press liaison had this warning for beachgoers.
Pay attention to your children. Pay attention to everyone who's in the water, not just yours, but everyone. If you cannot swim, please do not go out too far. If you cannot swim, get a flotation device. Have that flotation device on you. Make sure your children or whomever is swimming have a flotation device. We don't want any incidents occurring. Boaters, I'm going to ask you to check the weather forecast to ensure that there are no systems in the tropic or there's no rip current that could cause an accident to happen. We want you to have a safe and enjoyable National Heroes Day.
When our news weekend comes back from the break, we honor the life and legacy of the late Dr. Miles and Ruth Monroe. We'll tell you how, and remember Dr. Ejida Wallace Pinder? Well, tonight we hear her story of triumph when our news weekend returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
The 10th anniversary of the tragic death of Dr. Miles Monroe and his wife Ruth is getting closer, and their children have decided to mark their memories with a weekend of activities in honor of their life and legacies. Sasha Lightbourne tells us all about it.
Miles Monroe and his wife Ruth, along with several others, died in a private plane crash in Grand Bahama on November 9th in 2014. Officials said their aircraft struck a crane at a shipyard near the airport. Monroe and the other passengers were en route to Freeport for a conference. Nearly 10 years later, Monroe's children, Miles Monroe Jr. and Teresa Monroe Wilborn, are choosing to celebrate the life and legacy of their parents. We spoke about their growth since that tragic event, which they say still feels like yesterday.
I've grown a lot personally, professionally, and spiritually. Their death had a big effect on me.
It has taken me almost 7 years to even go back home, just because my parents was a big part of my life, just as mom and dad. Nothing else, just as mom and dad.
On Friday, November 8th, there is a leadership seminar scheduled. On Saturday, November 9th, there will be 2 events, a 5K, 10K legacy walk at Clifford Park, and that evening, a legacy reunion concert headlined by gospel award-winning artist Yolanda Adams.
Yes, we get to commemorate and remember their lives and their legacy, but I think we also get to celebrate in these 10 years what everybody has done.
And both of them believe the celebration will have an impact, as it will be a celebration of the family.
I would love the Bahamians to understand and get a grasp of like what that impact is, right? So coming to these events, and that's the reason why we want them to come, is so that they can learn of this impact.
We want to encourage families. My dad was very family oriented. My mom was very, very much into the whole family, and so it's also for children.
Reporting for our news, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Thanks, Sasha. Dr. Ejida Wallace Pinder is back home and grateful to be alive after she was airlifted to the Cayman Islands recently to treat a heart condition that's left her in need of a heart transplant. You may recall back in July, Dr. Wallace's family, along with the Medical Association of the Bahamas, made an emotional appeal for assistance amid mounting medical bills as Dr. Ejida laid in a hospital bed hooked up to life-supporting machines. Now that she's back home, Dr. Wallace Pinder says she's grateful for all the support she's received thus far and wanted to thank the public personally.
I would like to express my deepest gratitude to my fellow Bahamians and non-Bahamians alike for your generous support of financial donations, blood donations, and as well as an abundance of prayers. All of these things, along with life-saving efforts of multiple medical teams, through the grace of God, has allowed me to survive this critical period in my life. I have battled illness for more than half of my life, and it's thanks to you that I am able to carry on fighting. I am currently in doing physiotherapy and progressing well.
But Dr. Wallace Pinder's fight still isn't over yet. Her heart is supported by this battery pack that powers a ventricular assist device, or LVAD for short. It's surgically implanted in her heart to take over the work of the left ventricle, one of the heart's two lowest chambers. Cardiologist Dr. Dwayne Sands, who operated on Dr. Wallace Pinder, shares the next steps.
Her original heart is still there, but much of the work is done by the left ventricular assist device, or artificial heart. And as beautiful and as healthy as she is, we're looking forward to her moving to the final stage, which will be a heart transplant. Now, people can do well with assist devices for years, but understand that she is forever connected to a power supply that makes it a little bit challenging.
Well, as the countdown to Christmas begins, the spirit of the season is coming early for some Grand Bahamians. This as the Grand Lucayan Resort recently hosted its Christmas in Autumn. The public was invited to get a taste of the festive offerings ahead. This event not only showcased the upcoming holiday festivities, but also aimed to boost the local economy. Shanika King, a concierge at the resort, shares the significance of the day.
Something that we've never done before. It's our first annual Christmas in Autumn. So right now we're going to be enjoying all of the holidays festivities with food, drinks, and decor.
Restaurant manager Latoya Stewart says for the upcoming festive season, there are a lot of new offerings for locals and guests to enjoy.
We have the new dining menus, we have the new dining areas, we have new convention areas that open up, such as the Prub Club and etc., to show you where you can wine, dine, have a good Christmas time, and have a festive time this year.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, Oasis Fresh is moving its business to a storefront. We'll tell you all about it.
A college baseball standout has the opportunity to finish his career in storybook fashion, and we see how our guys did in the NBA preseason. Our Sports Weekend is up next.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Good evening, I'm Tage Adderley, and we are back with our sports on this holiday weekend. Last year, we introduced you to University of Toronto baseball MVP Owen Taylor. He has his team in position to win a 2nd straight championship. Taylor led his Toronto Varsity Blues to a 15-4 blowout of the Queen's University Gales in the Ontario University Athletics semifinal yesterday in Ajax, Ontario. Hitting in the 2 slot, the big lefty outfielder and pitcher went 3 for 5 on the day with a double, 2 singles, 3 runs, and an RBI to get the win. Pitcher Kevin Anger got the win for the Blues. Taylor, who struck out the final batter to win last year's championship, was not needed on the mound. Now, Taylor and the Blues played his final collegiate match in the final earlier this afternoon. We'll have more on that tomorrow. Now we're on to the hardwood, where Bahamians saw preseason action in the NBA. Kai Jones and the LA Clippers squeaked by DeAndre Ayton and the Portland Trail Blazers 101-99. Jones stuffed the stat sheet off the bench with 8.6 rebounds, and he shut down the paint to the tune of 5 blocks. He also dunked the lob with 2.2 seconds left to get the win for the Clips. Ayton had 8 points and 7 rebounds. Eric Gordon scored 3 points in 9 minutes off the bench. His Philadelphia 76ers lost 121-111 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Buddy Hield had 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting in 17 minutes off the bench for the Golden State Warriors as they beat the Sacramento Kings 109-106. He made 2 of his 4 3-point attempts. Gordon and his Sixers will play against the defending champion Boston Celtics tomorrow. That is a wrap for sports on this Saturday evening for Our Sports Weekend. I'm Tage Adderley.
Thanks, Tage. When Our News Weekend comes back from the break, a local company launches its holiday promotion. The details when Our News Weekend returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Welcome back to Our News Weekend. Cloudy skies in the capital with an increased chance of rain. Meteorologist Ian McKinsey joins us now with what you need to know. Ian.
Thanks, Berthany, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your Saturday evening forecast. We are currently outside our studios. We're under intermittent clouds with a temperature of 82. Our winds are from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. Comfortable feels like temperature at 89. temperatures across the country, we have 81 in Freeport and Marsh Harbor, 82s in Allenstown, Great Harbor Key, the capital, and in Nicholstown, 83 in Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera. In the central Bahamas, we have 83s continuing in Kemps Bay, Georgetown, and in Deadman's Key, a pair of 82s in Arthurstown, Kidd Island, and Coburn Town, San Salvador. The southeast Bahamas, we have 84s in Duncantown and Providenciales, a trio of 83s in Colonel Hill, Delectable Bay, and Matthewtown, and 82 in Abrahams Bay, Mayaguana. Satellite and radar imagery at this time, we have high pressure dominating area. Not much in terms of clouds at this moment. We do have a trough across this area, and this will help to influence some showers and possible isolated thunderstorms across the capital and portions of the northwest Bahamas late tonight and into tomorrow. Looking at the tropics right now, there is a broad area of low pressure that's being monitored by the Hurricane Center. Has a medium % chance for possible tropical depression through today, actually. And over here, October 16th through 19th, across the Gulf area, which seems to be the hot spot of late, this area is expected to possibly develop into a tropical cyclone, say about the end of the week. So we want to continue to monitor this area. And there is no storm out there by the name of Nadine yet, but this area has a high potential for possibly becoming Nadine. Boating forecasts across all areas. Small craft remain in port. Those swells are still rough out there. Winds northeast, east 10 to 15, seas 2 to 4, but up to 9 feet offshore in those north to northeasterly swells. Low tide at 10:30 p.m. tonight. High tide at 4:28 a.m. tomorrow morning. Here's a look at your extended forecast where you can see showers pretty much through midweek. Some break, showers return again. We have a series of cold fronts that are expected to push through the area, which will create some unsettled weather across us through the week. Highs only getting up to the mid to upper 80s, so we can see a cooling pattern in place with your lows in the mid to upper 70s. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
Thanks, Ian. E-commerce grocery platform Oasis Fresh has prided itself on bringing in gourmet foods and personalized carts in the recent years. And now they're taking their services from the screen to the store. The company recently held their soft launch for their first physical location in the Lyford Commerce Park just off the Western Road. Purchasing manager Tamara Johnson Riley talks about the journey.
My boss came around with the idea, why not let's have a storefront? You know, we wanted to, fulfill this niche in the market, whereas we offer gourmet products, a one-stop shop, have a deli where they can come in, grab something to eat. You can purchase charcuterie, pallets, plates. You can also purchase acai bowls, and you can find meats and stuff that you won't find locally. We have a number of different suppliers that will be providing us with not only fresh meat, but meat that you're not able to source here locally.
But of course, the experience still goes beyond their physical storefront. They even have an app on the way.
Along with the soft opening, we will be launching our new app called Oasis Bahamas, along with our new website that you can find on www.oasisbahamas.com. And what you will see with these, we will not only have the items in store, but we will also be able to add items there. If you have an item that you don't see and you would like added to the site or to the app so that you can purchase time and time again.
Well, Kuba Libra launching their 5th annual Jingle All the Way holiday promotion Wednesday night at the Andre Rogers National Baseball Stadium. The family-owned brand unveiling the campaign at a festive event attended by media, influencers, top customers, and loyal supporters. Marketing representative Rajara Ambrister telling us the promotion will run through December 16th and climax with a giveaway on January 4th. Customers across the Bahamas can enter by spending a minimum of $10. Director Garvin Christie shares more on the give back.
The time where Kuba Libra gives back to the community. This is how we show that Kuba Libra cares. This is an event for all of our customers, all of our clients, all of our friends, all of our family who have supported Kuba Libra over the years, and we want to give back to them. So as Rajara said, we give back gifts. We're giving back TVs, and somebody's walking away with a brand spanking new car.
Well, that does it for our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Berthany McDermott. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Joshua Williams here. Thanks for watching. be sure to hit that subscribe button. And for more content like this, click over here. Also, push that notification button to get more great content from the team you already trust.